Yeah, you leaving New Jersey?
Yeah, I was thinking about this when I saw your page. And you're saying make New Jersey great again, and it made me feel kind of bad. You know, because I'm out. I'm getting out of here, dude. I've been here for about 6 years. No, about 5 years now. Been in New Jersey for 5 years, and I've been slowly building up my business. It's doing better than ever, and I'm sitting here with like the lockdowns here. You know, the Atlas Gym guys just down the street.
Right. I know him.
I don't want to have anything to do with this guy and his edict. And you got cops that are enforcing the stuff he's asking for. So it's not just that. South Jersey's a peninsula. We got crazy riots and everything. I don't want to be on a peninsula when it's, you know what I mean. So it's partly that too. So I'm gonna go inland. I'm gonna go to the middle of nowhere, but
like North Dakota or something.
No, not that far. I'll still be on the East Coast, but I'm just gonna move inland. You know, about an hour or two or whatever.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but then I see your thing. You're like, make New Jersey great again, and I'm like, you're sticking around.
I mean, you know what's funny about you saying that is, you know, when I was in the military, I was stationed in Texas, and in my opinion, there's no place more American than Texas. You know, I absolutely what, bro? I love Texas, man. And the funny thing is going out there when I was gonna get stationed in Texas, the first time we go off base, and we're walking around. This is in Wichita Falls, Texas, right? Me and my friends were going out. We're looking for I think it was like a video game store or something. We were going to. We're walking, and where we're going through, we're like in the middle of nowhere, like some podunk cornfield type place, right? And there's like this guy sitting in this dilapidated house, just chilling there with a bloodhound, and like just totally stereotypical, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
was he in a rocking chair with a shotgun?
Nah, well, he might as well have been, you know.
Right.
So it's me, black dude, a Hawaiian guy, and a Samoan guy, right? And a Hispanic guy. So me, so a black guy, Hispanic guy, Samoan, and Hawaiian. We're walking down this block, all of us brown as can be, you know, walking down the block. And we look at this guy. This guy's looking at us. And we're like, oh, man, we could smell something burning. So we're like, man, they're probably like, you know, burning the cross or something in the backyard. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, let's just go back to base or whatever, right? And the guy's like, hey, man, y'all from around here? I don't say anything, you know, but the smallest guy with us, the Samoan guy, is like, yeah, we're looking for this store or whatever. It's like, hey, why don't y'all come out back? You know, we're cooking a pig back here. And we're like, no, we're good. He's like, oh, y'all look hot. Y'all should get some lemonade. And we're like, no, we're good. But then my friend's like, oh, no, let's go. So he starts walking, and I'm like, oh, my God. And I'm like, you know, never leave an airman behind, right? So I follow right behind them. You know, we go back there. Some of the sweetest people in the world I've ever met.
Yeah.
These guys, man. You know, I'm thinking in my and I was afraid to come to Texas at first. I'm like, man, they got a bunch of cowboy hats, shotgun toting, redneck racist kind of people. And no, not at all. You know, some of the nicest people in the world. We had a great time, had a couple of drinks, and all that. You know, I experienced more racism here than I did in New Jersey than in Texas.
You know what I think it feels like? It's like the pendulum swung. And so where you used to have the racists in the South and everything, it's swung now to where they'll treat you like a regular person. But now on the left, they've gone so far in the other direction. You've got white progressives that scream in the face of minorities' racial slurs.
Right.
Like
and they'll think they're doing virtue right now.
Like that. You see that video of that white woman? She's holding up the sign screaming at the black female cop. Like screaming. Like,
I haven't seen that.
It's hilarious because she's holding up a sign while she's screaming at a black woman. And it's like, dude. But the sign on the back is fragile. And I'm like, that is the perfect image of white fragility, this lady. But this guy's filming and he goes, don't you think it's inappropriate for you as a white woman to be screaming at a black lady about racism?
Right.
And she's like, no, because I'm the only one who can do it because I have to do it. And she's part of the system. They're nuts. That's crazy. That's the craziest thing to me. It feels weird that, like I was kind of, like what I was trying to get at before about you being a Republican is that Kanye West was talking about this. They told him, you better be a Democrat, you better support Democrats, otherwise I'll destroy your career.
Right.
Like they have a stranglehold on minority communities.
Right.
Me coming from the South Side, there's every reason that everyone in my area, everyone I know should be a Democrat. Just absolutely opposed to Republicans, not our team. And now I'm talking to people from my neighborhood and they're all
wearing MAGA hats? No.
Secretly voting for Trump.
Right. That's what it's like in Patterson too, I would say.
So I did on my main channel today. I said Trump second term agenda list. That's it, enough for me. Like I'm gonna vote for the guy, and there's like congressional term limits and ending the wars. I was like, I'll take it, man. Yeah. At this point, it's a combination of Trump has improved enough for me. He did this speech at the RNC where he's like, I'm not gonna say mean words about Hillary because they're gonna get mad at me, and I was like, I actually really like that he did that. He's like, I'm not gonna touch with an SC. I'm not gonna say the word, and I was like, that's an improvement. And but then he did try to end the war. I talk about this all the time because it's big for me. That's why I'm really impressed with you saying, you know, when it came to Libya, you were questioning this stuff because I think that's one of the biggest problems we have, where we're constantly, you know, internally we argue about all these political issues. But a lot of the stuff talk about for, we need money for this, we'll tax the rich. I'm like, we stop blowing up the people in foreign countries starting these wars, and we'll have money left over. We can bring it back here.
Exactly.
So anyway, Trump's improved, but also the Democrats have just gotten worse and worse and worse. The riots, the insanity. I'm sick and tired of the lies. It really is. I was talking to, I got an email from some dude who said he's in Europe, and when you turn on any European news outlet, the narrative is always far left. That Trump is evil, he's a dictator, peaceful protests are marching, and Trump's is beating them. And then he's like, but then I go on the internet and I watch what's actually happening, and it makes me angry. So for it's like, I wonder if the pendulum has swung. You tell the story about a guy who's got roasting a pig and lemonade, and you go back and it's the nicest people in the world.
Yeah.
And these are the people that they accuse of being white supremacists and racists.
Exactly. And I'm telling you, man, it's like, I'm not gonna lie, I stereotyped the hell out of that guy, and I'm like, no, this dude's gonna chop me up and wear my face, man. He's gonna do like Leatherface or something,
And he gave you a slab of mutton and a big old glass.
Man, good time, these people, bro. Good time, And when I started to see that, I thought about it for a while. I thought about you, said, you know what, I'm gonna go to Texas, right? And I honestly believe that, like, if I didn't go to that Trump rally in January 28th, I wouldn't be running for Congress, and two, it wouldn't have revitalized my hope that we can still save New Jersey.
Wait, so you went to a Trump rally?
I went to a Trump rally January 28th.
This year,
the one that he had in January, Wildwood.
Massive
one.
Yeah, I really wanted to go. I didn't make it because it was I couldn't get in.
Well, to be fair, we didn't get in either.
But going down there, meeting everybody.
Yeah, so
that's
so funny thing. My friend, I'll even tell you that story because that's literally the inception of this whole congressional run anyway, right? At this point, no intention of running, nothing like that. But I wanted to be involved in the political scene and see what's going on, right? So my friend, good friend since like child, my friend Randy, he's like, hey man, you should let's go to the Trump rally. He's coming to New Jersey. Let's go. And he's one of those guys who's like a low-key Trump supporter. He doesn't want anybody to know, but like now everybody knows he's like, high-key Trump now. But like, so he's like, let's go to the rally. I'm like, okay, cool. We try and go. The day comes around, he's like, hey, I got to work. I can't make it. And I'm like, oh, nah, man, we got to go. At this point, I'm already gung-ho. I'm like, I already voted for the dude. Like, he's coming to New Jersey. Like, there's no way. And he's like, get in contact with Dr. Castillo. He's like, the doctor right there on Mill Street. Go over there. He's going down there with the Republican, the Hispanic Republican National Assembly. Go down there with them, right? So it's the first time I actually meet Dr. Castillo. I'd seen him on posters, knew all about the guy, but, never met him. So while we're going down there, he's probably thinking like, he's probably just like, regular Democrat dude from the hood who's curious, right? Whatever, right? Yeah. So we have like a little short, small talk. We didn't really talk any Trump stuff till we get there. We get to this place, man, and first off, it's like 27 degrees. It's brick. It is freezing out there, man. But there's thousands of people, man.
Yeah,
hundreds of thousands, and I was blown away because I was like, what, in New Jersey? And mind you, some came from Pennsylvania and probably other places as well too. But even still, there had to have been like 120,000 people out there, bro.
Wow,
there was a lot of people, bro. Like the way so we get to the rally. They had a park right outside the convention center, right? And the entire park was full from fence to fence, like in this little snake formation kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
By the time you get out of the park, you come down 1 block, you go up 3 blocks, you cross the street, and then there's a huge parking lot in the Wildwood Center, and there's a massive snake chain going all the way through the parking lot until you got into the front. We got there at 11. By the time we got to the front, I was 100 people away from the front. It was like 8 o'clock. All right, at this point, right? Trump's about to go on. Doors locked, 100 people in, can't get in. I'm like, okay, great, whatever. It is what it is, right? Now, there's a part that I skipped, actually. The most significant part that happened is I did an interview with a guy named Andrew Dadansky. He's like he does like a lot of these little reports and stuff. And while I'm doing this report, Dr. Castillo's sitting there next to me the entire time. And the whole time we're there, I didn't really speak much, right? So I'm kind of just giving my opinion. That video is also on my my Instagram. I'm kind of just talking about different things, foreign policy, whatever, right? And then Kayleigh McEnany. At the time, I had no idea who she was, right? She wasn't the press secretary. We're sitting down. We're standing in front of this this line waiting for cheesesteaks. And I see Kayleigh coming down the side of this the little barricade or whatever, right? She's got the microphone. She's like putting it to the crowd, trying to get people to talk. And people are like, oh no, my boss. If my boss sees me, I can't talk about this, whatever, right? So then she gets to where I'm at, and she's like, oh well, I guess that's it. I guess we're gonna put the cameras away. And I'm like, no, I'll talk. And at first, I was just messing with her, right?
Yeah.
And it's just her. She got a big black fur coat and these 2 massive dudes with suits on. I just couldn't put 2 and 2 together, like that these guys are Secret Service. I thought she's just a journalist with 2 homeboys like protecting her, And She's like, oh, you really want to talk? He's like, you sure? And I'm like, yeah, let's talk about it. I'm like, you're not fake news though, right? Ha ha ha, no, we're not fake news. And I'm like, well, what organization are you with? And she's like, oh, we're just here supporting Trump, just like you. She didn't tell me your name, didn't tell me anything like that. She's like, oh, so you want to say something to the president? So then I said what I said. You know, that's, you go on Trump's page, you'll find that that post that I said. I said, you know, Trump, good guy, whatever, woo. I said that, and then right after all that was done, like everybody in the crowd was like, man, you said something that was on my mind, but you just worded it in such a way that I never could. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Dr. Castillo says, hey, Bill, come, he pulls me to the side, right? He says, hey, Bill, I think you should run for Congress.
There it is.
And I'm like, what? And I'm like, no. He was like, no, seriously. I'm running in CD5. I ran in District 9 before against Pasquarello. The only reason why I didn't win is I wasn't able to get the younger vote, and I wasn't able to acquire the African American vote. And he was like, you are different. You know, and he was like, this whole time I'm thinking you're a Democrat, and he was like, you're a super conservative, and I had no clue. And he's like, you've got a mind about all these different kinds of things. I feel like if you polish yourself up and you kind of, you know, put your things in the right way, like you could do really well in politics. So he said, run. And I said, well, if you help me and you kind of guide me through this process, I will. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I'm already running in the 5th. You run in the 9th. We'll tag team it. We'll go in. You know, it'll be great. And I'm like, all right, doctor, let's do it. All right, so let's do this race, man. And we're sitting down. And we're watching Trump on the jumbo screen while he's talking, and I just got like filled with like this just like, yes, let's do this kind of feeling, man. Because I'm watching this guy, and I'm like, yo, all these people came from all across the state and the surrounding areas to come and see this guy in freezing cold weather, and we're still here. This guy, 0 days in politics, isn't a politician.
Yeah,
he's accomplished so many things in under 3 years, and I'm like, if he could do it. And if AOC, who's an absolute airhead, can do it, I mean, she won. I mean, I'll give her credit for that. You know, youngest congresswoman ever. Yeah. I'll give her credit for that. But, like, if she could do it, there's nothing stopping me from doing it.
Nothing.
You know? And I'm smarter than her, okay? I'm not trying to toot my horn. So I'm like,
the confidence is good.
Yeah, I'm smarter than her. So I'm like, if I can do that, and the president was able to do that, and I know I've got pretty good ideas, I'm gonna seriously take Dr. Castillo up on his offer.
Yeah.
And then from then on, you know, the following day, went home, built that website that we're looking at right now, started making the logos on Photoshop, and just started, like, you know, just doing the whole thing. And I just started running.
It's an uphill battle though, bro.
It is, you know, but here's the thing, man. The way I look at it is like, and I personally believe that I'm gonna win. The reason why I believe this is because nobody knows what this guy's platform is, right? I've constantly called him out to debate. Lots of other people have called him out to debate. Even the Democrats.
He won't do it.
The Democrats even called him out to debate. The only person he agreed to debate was a guy named Alpasarin, right? Alpasarin, which I think was a horrible campaign move, was on his website. It was like, you know, Congress deserves a former illegal alien in Congress. And I'm like, that's a horrible slogan, you know, to put. Because like he championed himself on, you know, I'm a Turkish immigrant, came here illegally, and I'm in Congress, and I should be in Congress. But he was like off-the-wall socialist, this guy.
Wow.
Right? You know, him and another lady, Zena Spazakis, off-the-wall socialist. I challenged both of them to a debate, because I'm like, listen, I'm in the primary with you guys, so I'm a Republican. Didn't want to talk to me. I said, yeah, I'll maybe debate you. Pasquarello accepted Alpasarin's request to debate. And I'm like, of course you're going to debate the socialist, you know?
Yeah.
Of course you're going to debate him. And like, you know, you just pull up the immigration thing and it's over, right? But then he only agreed to do it at a virtual forum. He didn't want to do it in person. So Alp was like, no, let's do it in person. And I'm pretty sure Alp would have really gave it to him. He would have raised a lot of really good points because despite all the socialist stuff, he's a very smart guy. He knows quite a few things, you know? And he wanted to do it by his rules. So he didn't want to do that. So I said, okay, of all the people you're going to debate him. So I said, all right, I'm going to debate Bill Pasquarello. And I started going after him. He didn't want to respond to any of the things. So now I'm kind of trying to give this guy the biggest headache in the world, you know? I know recently he had a, I believe it was a stent he had to get put into his heart. He has like heart problems right now. He's 83 years old, man.
Bill Pasquarello?
He's 83 years old.
Wow.
He's 83 years old. He's got some heart issues right now. And I'm like, man, listen, if you want to run in politics, this is a hard game. And it's like, I'm serious about what I want to do. I'm not going to let you just sit there and coast and do nothing. You're not going to pull a Ruth Bader Ginsburg on me, bro. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm going to take it to you. So, you know, I'm showing up at his fire department that he built. This was about 2 days ago. It was in front of his fire department. Hey, Bill, we're out. Your fire department, come out and debate me. You know, we'll debate right here in front of the fire department or whatever. So now I'm gonna show up at all of his offices. I got people calling his office, people sending emails and saying, listen, Pasquarello, come out and debate. Stop running away. You know what I mean? 23 years, you talk about how you've done so much. And what really pisses me off is he's from Patterson. He's from Patterson originally, right? He champions, I grew up in Patterson. I know what it's like. No, you don't, because you're not doing anything. If you knew what it was like, you wouldn't allow it to be in a situation that it's in. You know, he doesn't want to talk about any of these facts because he knows I'm going to hold his feet to the fire. He can't pull the whole Black Lives Matter nonsense with a guy like me because I live here. All right. He can't pull the whole anti-Trump. You're a racist if you support Trump because I support Trump. All the moves that he would have used on any of the other Republican candidates, he can't use on me. So he's like, it's best for me to just stay in the basement and be basement Bill. Stay away from this guy. All right.
I love the backfiring identity politics.
Oh yeah, he knows it. He knows it. He knows it. That's the only thing. There's no rationale for it.
That's what I was thinking before, like when I was talking about how Kanye West said, you know, you have to be a Democrat or else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they like to use the black community. They say that they're the ones who are going to speak on your behalf and fight for you.
Absolutely.
And I'm like I said earlier, man, if that guy wants to come out and play that game, well, he just lost the argument because
let's play that game.
Not only are you from a predominantly black area, but you're literally a black dude. Yeah. So like, why would I support him? Why would I believe he knows anything about what's happening in your community? If he thinks that's the issue that needs to be fought for, I'm going to look to you, Billy. I'm going to ask you. All right, you take the reins.
Yeah,
because you both seem to agree, right?
Right. And he's not gonna try and debate that kind of stuff, you know. And you know, I'm kind of sick and tired of people using the black community as the useful idiots, you know. Same way that the socialists took over with the useful idiots, doing the same thing right now with the African American community and Black Lives Matter. Yeah. And I'm sick and tired of that. We're not scapegoats. You know, we've already been through enough. We've already got all kinds of nonsense we've been dealing with slavery, segregation, all kinds of nonsense. And now you want to use us to keep pushing your Democrat policies that put us in this situation in the first place. And you're going to say that you're for us? Black Lives Matter? Get out of my face with that.
That's why, you know, there's some things Candace Owens has said that I've disagreed with. But for the most part, that's why I was mentioning, like, you and Kimberly, for instance, people like Candace Owens, the Hodge twins, you know, Terrence Williams. I think there's a lot of people who, you know, I think it's obvious. They use identity politics. They make money off it. They make a career off of it. And now you finally got a bunch of people who are actually black standing up, asserting themselves, saying, here's what we want, here's what we want to do. Like literally what you just said. Tired of having your community be the scapegoat.
Mm-hmm.
What do they call you? White supremacists,
right.
Racists. That's the craziest nonsense I've ever seen.
Or even they'll try to call it, you're an Uncle Tom. I'm like, oh, really? That's the case?
I watched that. You see the documentary?
Fantastic documentary, by the way.
I didn't even realize Herman Cain.
Yeah.
His story was amazing.
Oh, yeah, man. I didn't even know it was that deep.
When he was like, I was trying to figure out why I wasn't getting paid enough money, and my boss says, well, he's got a degree. So I got me a degree, and I was like, yeah
I like
dude,
that.
I like that. So I'll tell you what, man. Look, I grew up on the South Side. I come second generation mixed race family. I grew up with stories about civil rights era and all this stuff and all the things that were hard fought. And now I'm seeing this insane racism from the left. But I've absolutely always been someone who's detested racism, detested white supremacists and all that stuff.
As you should.
And now I find myself in this interesting position where, as someone who's grown up hearing stories from my grandparents, from my parents about how what was life like in the country before civil rights, I see a bunch of black people actually standing up saying we're going to run, and they're conservatives,
right? And
they're getting crapped all over by these progressives, and I'm like, well, wait, hold on a minute. This is exactly what we were all fighting for, correct. So that people could be protected. People's were judged based on their character, not the color of their skin,
right?
And for some reason, they're trying. It's the Democrats trying to maintain the inverse of that.
Right.
But to be fair, you look at the diversity, I guess, of the parties. Yeah, you look at the Republican Party, you got a whole bunch of white dudes. You look at the Democrat Party, you got a whole bunch of, you know, you've got minority women, you've got some minority dudes, you got some white people. But it's all about fall in line behind our ideas, or you're a racist, and we'll try and tear you down.
Right.
And now that they've got people who are diverse standing up and saying, well, we disagree with your ideas. They're trying to use all these tactics to destroy. It's hypocrisy, and I think it proves they never actually cared about actual diversity. They never cared about the actual melting pot of this country. They just cared about using that image. Their support for Black Lives Matter, in my opinion, is skin deep. Quite literally, they want to make sure that they have the support of people based on what they look like, instead of convincing people their ideas are good. So they'll make the show of it. They say this all the time, like, why don't you take a look at when it was the State of the Union? You see all the Democrats, and you've got different people of different colors and genders, and you look at the Republicans, and it's mostly like white dudes and some white women, and they use that against them. Right. And I'm like, okay, I agree. Then I'll tell you what, start supporting people of different races, different genders, whatever.
Correct.
Who aren't white then. No, they call Candace Owens a white supremacist. They call Ben Shapiro a Nazi.
Which is madness.
But they call you trying to smear you as a conspiracy theorist too.
Right.
And I'm like, it just ties back to your opponent is 83 and he's saying Black Lives Matter, and it's like that's the stupidest argument I've ever heard.
And he hasn't done a single thing about it, man.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify, and we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.